everyone, welcome back to the new video. It's me Namrita here. Hope you all are doing at your best. And yeah, I know I was very inactive since last few weeks, although I was uploading YouTube shorts 4 or 5 times a week because I was active on Instagram, but I didn't really feel like, creating this kind of big in-depth YouTube content which I do. So I took a break from it, and today I just thought to come back and share with you how I feel about this NATASHA DENONA palette. Although it's not a new launch, it's their bronze palette. I think they launched it earlier this year. I'm not really sure, but I love the color story of this palette. That's why I bought this. So I already tried this palette yesterday. I created a look, but today I just wanna show you how this shadows work and all the swatches, and I tried a couple of shades to create that look, but today I'm gonna be using some other shades for a different look. So yeah, I think that way I can tell you how these shadows work. Although I'm already in love with each and every shades this palette has got, I can tell you from that swatch that completely blown my mind. It's so creamy and full of pigment. It's so good. But before I start with the eye makeup, I need to show you the swatches so that you can also see how magical, how gorgeous this palette is. Well, that was all about the swatches. I hope you got to see the shades properly. And it has 15 different shades. It's a mix of matte and metallics. Some of the metallics are more like foily kind of a metallic, and some has a little bit more of a glitter portion. I hope that makes sense. That's how I felt. And the mattes in it has a very interesting texture. The more you build it, the better it gets. Like, it's more like a creamy matte eyeshadow. I never really tried this kind of matte shadows before. These are very unique to me. I loved each and every mattes here. You can use them as a transition color, like in your crease you can use them. I don't really like glittery mattes. So there is a backstory. When I went to Sephora that day, the day I bought this, I went there for the PatrickTa Major Dimension Shadow Palette. I think that's the name, something Dimension. So that also has a similar color story, but I don't know why in that Sephora in my location they kept both the palettes in a same shelf. That was quite confusing. So I went there to buy that palette. I was pretty much confident. I made my mind, okay, I'm buying that because that's beautiful. But when I saw this, it somehow attracted me in some way that I ended up buying this because it has more shadow options, and I think the mattes in it are purely matte, but in the PatrickTa palette the mattes are kind of shimmery. I felt some of the mattes has some shimmers in it, so I skipped that because I don't really like shimmers in my matte shadows. They should be very, very matte. I think that's how you can create dimension. Otherwise, if your matte has glitters, that will catch some kind of light and it will highlight. So yeah, I think yeah, that's only my preference. But that PatrickTa one really pigmented. I swatched some of the shades, and that's good. That's really, really great. But I chose this. Anyway, so yeah, the shades are pretty good. I loved the shades I used yesterday, so now I really need to start creating a look. But before that, I need to prep my eyelids. So I'll be using this Urban Decay primer potion. It's my good old trusted primer. Okay, today I already planned a look in my mind, although I don't know how it would turn out, but I want to start with this concealer because I'll draw a shape with it and then I'll top it up with the shadows. So let's just do it. Well, now it's time to start with the palette. So at first I'll go with this a dark shade right here. It's called Deep Dive. It's more like brown, but it has a purple or eggplant touch to it. So it's mix of both. And I'm using this kind of very thin angle brush, and I'll apply it in the outer corner and in the inner corner. Also in my previous look I used this shade, but trust me, it's gonna be a complete different look. Well, this shade is more like matte, especially when you apply it. You can barely see any shimmer in it, like right now you can see, but in the pan and also when I swatched it, it has very sheer shimmer or metallic thing in it, which doesn't really show up when you apply it. So you can definitely treat it as a matte shade. Well, I'm done applying the shade and you can see there is barely any fallouts. Actually, it's a zero fallout. So I'm really happy about this part, and now let's move on with the next shade. And I think I'm going to be using this complete matte shade right here. It's called Magma, and you can see it's a very warm brown color. So let's just apply it. I'll be using this kind of, flat but dense brush, and I'll just blend it with the shade I already applied. And I already told you these mattes are very nicely buildable, so all I'm doing is trying to build it up and blend it with the previous color. I think by now you already know what I'm doing here. I'll try to put some shimmer shades in the middle, and it'll be more like a graphic hello eye. Well, so far this is how my eye is looking, and it's needless to say how pigmented these shadows are. I think this is how it should be because I spent quite a lot of money on it. Anyway, till now I only used the mattes, and now I'm going to be using metallic, but I want to let you know there is kind of instruction on how to use it. So it says for metallic or duochrome or crystal eyeshadows applied with dense eyeshadow brushes for a subtle finish. For high payoff or foiled finish, apply with the damp eyeshadow brushes or use your tip of the finger. Anyway, so at first I'm gonna start with tip of my finger, and then the last shade I'll apply with a wet brush. So let's just go with this brownish or copperish kind of shadow here. It's called Palladium, and I'm gonna go with my finger and I'll directly add it here. Wow, this is my first time using this shade, and the color payoff is too good. Like you can see, I just dabbed it and this is how it's looking. I don't know if the camera is doing justice with its quality and how gorgeous it's looking here, but in real it's too good. And don't worry about this rough edge, I'll blend it out later. I'm just placing the shadow right now. And now with the previous brush, I'm just gonna blend this edge, and this time I'm not using any more extra pigment. I'm just working with the shade was left on this brush, and you can see it's very easily blendable. It's already looking very well blended. All I did is some small strokes like this, and it seemed to be blending it very nicely. Wow, you can see how easily it blended out. I haven't put much effort. I just pressed it and tried to drag the deeper shade towards the center, and you can see it's looking so well blended. I'm so happy. Okay, now I'm going to be applying another metallic shade. For that I chose this kind of brush. It's a very flat, dense brush, but this time I'll wet this with this makeup setting spray. It's our very own Fix Plus. We all love her. Anyway, let's go with this shade right here. It's called Silk. It's a more like gold, but it has a little bit of bronzy touch to it or coppery touch to it. I'm so bad at explaining colors. Anyway, you can see how it looks. Alright, I'd only recommend to use fingertips when it comes to this shimmer shadows. As you can see, it doubled up the color payoff instantly. It's too good. But yesterday I tried to apply this shimmers with this brush, but the dry brush, and I got so many fallouts. Then I used my fingertip and it was good. So yeah, this is the approved way of applying the shades. Do try it. Ooh, what is this? It's too good. I mean, too good. And now I'm gonna go with the brush just to walk in the edge. So yeah, this is how it's going. I'm so happy so far, but I'm just gonna go with the first brush which I used in the corner, which I used with the deeper shade. So I'll take that shade a little more and I'll tap off the excess, and I'll just try to draw the outline here with very light hand. Right now I'm so happy. This is what I wanted to achieve today, and these days I don't know why, but I'm all about this kind of graphic eyeshadow look. Especially if you have been following me on Instagram, then you might know what I'm doing these days. It's mostly this kind of looks. I'm not bored of it yet. Anyway, I'm gonna be doing the rest of the eye makeup after the base, so I'll be back in a while. But you can see there's no fallouts, just little bit of shimmers I can see under my eyes, and that's it. Well, I'm back with the base on, and if you don't know which foundation I'm wearing, because I know it's looking amazing on my skin, it's only $11 foundation. It's the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. Recently I shared a wear on taste review kind of a video. You can check that. I'll leave the link on top of the screen. And now I'll do the rest of the eye makeup, but I don't think I should do anything else with the eyeshadow. I think that may ruin the look. I really don't want to do that, but I may add some rhinestone or gems of that same brown color if I can find that, and then I'll put a set of lashes and then I'll be back. And here's the final look. But to be honest, I'm so happy right now with this end look. But let me know your thoughts whether you like it or not. I know with this rhinestones it's looking little too much, but I did it intentionally because I already said I took some pictures for my Instagram, so I wanted to make it little more jazzy. So yeah, that's why I've done that. But other than that, I would have skipped it if I was about to, going out or something, then I would have never done that. Anyway, so now let's talk about the palette. But I think by now you already know how I feel about it. It's worth each and every penny I spent on it, although I know it's a little bit in the costlier side. It's freaking $65. So as that PatrickTa palette which I was talking about, that's even little more costlier, that's $68. Anyway, I'm so happy with my purchase. I know that would have been nice too, that PatrickTa palette, but I'm so happy with it. Like, the mattes are so creamy. I never really used this kind of mattes before. The more you build, the darker it becomes. Although I know it's pretty much same with other mattes, but what I'm talking about is the formula. It's pretty unique, at least to me. I never really used this kind of mattes before. It's very creamy, very soft, and the metallics, I don't have to talk about it, but again I'd say apply it with your fingertip, or you can use those sponge tip applicators. Those are great with metallic shadows. I'm sure that would work with this shadows as well. So yeah, that's all about the eyeshadows. And now from the pricing aspect, you may say it's a little too pricey. Yes, I can't deny that, but look at the packaging. It's so gorgeous. What are you talking about? It's so worth it. And there is another thing, you can remove this pan if you want. Like, if you want to make a custom palette, or if out of any of the shades, you can just remove the pan and refill it. You can buy this shade separately from NATASHA DENONA online store. So yeah, it's a yes for me. I'm so happy with this entire palette. If you have a budget, and especially if you're working on clients, then definitely you can think of investing on this kind of palette. And I think the other palettes she has would be as good as this one. So yeah, you can definitely trust on it. It's not wasting money or anything that sort. So yeah, this is it. And if you wanna see any other looks using this palette, then let me know in the comment box, or if you have any other palettes in your mind which you want me to try, then don't forget to let me know in the comment box. I'd love to try that. And yes, don't forget to follow me on my other social handles, especially on my Instagram. I would love if you guys join me over there. So this is it for now. I'll be back with the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.